Like, bro, we're going to the bitter ends here. Like, we're going to the wheels fall off. You need to call Pookie, and I'm going to tape him up and put him in the trunk. Just because he didn't want to front me a $20 cap. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome to the Recovery Idiot. My name is Leroy. I'm a recovered alcoholic addict. Today, I'm with my friend Wayne. And I've known Wayne for a couple years, but I don't really know much about him. But I know he's from Philly, and I'm from New Jersey. So, East Coast up in the house, we're not supposed to like each other. Philly people hate Jersey people. I think Jersey people hate everybody. But New Yorkers think they're better than both of us. So, fuck them. So, we got something in common.
Absolutely.
So what was life like growing up in Philly?
Growing up as a kid, it was, I guess, in my opinion, it was normal. You know what I mean? But I guess come to find out later on in life, it wasn't too normal. Grew up with both parents in my household. But, I don't know, it's probably age 6, 7, when you start going over friends' houses and stuff like that, you see how their family dynamic worked. It wasn't the same as my family dynamic, you know what I'm saying? And I learned pretty quickly that I wasn't living a normal life, you know what I mean? My parents would fight late at night all the time. I mean, I guess that's kind of normal, but in terms of, you would think, the white picket fence, everybody's always happy and joyous with each other. That wasn't the case in my household, you know what I mean? My dad cheated on my mom a lot, and there was always fights.
I look back, and my family really was, everyone's a level of disturbed. But until I was 15, they were married, and they never really fought. They never drank. I think my dad had a beer that I can remember growing up. I think it was normal too, and then I would do the same thing and look at other people.
Right.
I learned resentments and learning to never talk to anybody again from my mom.
Right.
If she didn't like somebody, that was it. She just cut them off. And I did the same thing, and I learned later on that's not what you're supposed to do.
No, not at all.
But I'd say I was semi-normal too, but when I was 15, I started going to Philly. Because that's where hardcore bands would play, and I'd see punk shows and grab a 40 on the way out there. And actually, my first real arrest as an adult was in Philly at 17.
Nice.
So I got caught catching a tag on South Street and got arrested with a bottle of vodka and 2 cans of spray paint.
That's awesome.
So, would you do anything like that when you were a teenager? Anything in music?
As far as spray painting and shit like that, not too much of that. But I was real into I was a twisted kid at that point in time in my life. I wanted to be the street thug gangster,
yes.
But I also was still carrying that skater mentality. You know what I mean? I like to skate and listen to punk rock, a Atreyu, shit like
yes.
that. And then I don't know, I just thought I used to have long surfer hair, and then eventually I was in a constant conflict with myself. Bro, you're a fucking weirdo, with long hair and listen to, screaming music. What's wrong with you? That's not what cool people do. And, eventually, the thug mentality came out. You know what I mean? I wanted to be the cool guy, the corner boy, stuff like that. It was extremely enticing to me, especially with, a lack of my dad in my life at that point. So I lacked that discipline and that structure of, what it is really to be a man. So, I turned to, street kids. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how it played out.
I did the same thing, but I did not have anything remotely close to street in my family. But at 15, I decided I could be Tupac and also walk around with a revolver, which is how I got kicked out of high school.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But once I learned about drugs, I was I want to sell them. I want to be that guy, too. I want to be Nino Brown. I want to have that thug lifestyle also. But I was a skater, and I played music, and I did art, and, those are the two furthest things from each other. To be a thug, but be the kid who does art and listens to emo.
Right.
So yeah, I understood that internal struggle. I never really thought of before. That was probably why I started doing what I did. So how did that go from your normal city skater, punk rock listening kid to doing drugs?
Well, I always liked money, so I sold a bunch of pot, as a kid. I would always have pounds of weed underneath my bed, and my mom would never know and all that. And then I had this one friend Ryan growing up with, and he got involved with selling coke and Xanax and OxyContin 80s, the real OG 80s and shit like that. And he had given me a pack of 80s, and I started selling them. He got in trouble with the police, the narcotics task force pulled him over. Somehow didn't catch him with a bunch of shit in his van, but he's like, I got to get out of this because like they know about me. So he had handed over like a clientele base to me. And he was like, yo, these people love these 80s. We call them green monsters. Like, they love them. I'm like, all right, whatever, dude. It sounds great. And he's like, they're $40 a watt. You know what I mean? I get them for 20. I'm like, damn, that's a fucking pretty good markup there. And so I don't know, about like a month or two into selling these things, like I started to realize, like, I didn't know what dope sickness was, but like I realized that these people would blow my phone up like crazily. Like, bro, I'm at the Phillies game, relax. And they just, that wasn't acceptable to them. They're like, no, like I need you now. And like, 3 a.m. calling me because they're dope sick, and like I just didn't understand that. So I'm like, what is the hype behind all these things?
So you had never done one?
No, at this point, no, I'd nenever done one yet.
And would have been the perfect life.
Yeah.
Keep selling but not do them.
So eventually, I had to indulge in this hype. I had to give it a try, and
had to suck that green coating off of the back of your shirt. Every shirt you have with the little green stain.
Absolutely, or a little washcloth. I had my favorite washcloth. I would just clean them up, eat them up.
Hose clamp.
Yeah, hose clamp, shave them down. And prior to that, like I had dabbled in Percocet and all that, but like I never liked them. Like, the first time I ever ate Percocet, I didn't like the way it made me feel. Like I got all itchy and was throwing up. I guess I took too much. I don't know, whatever it was. And like Xanax was my thing at this point. I love Xanax because like I could eat them, go to school, and like next thing you know, school was over. So like it was cool. Little time warp. And then I had tried the Oxycontin at probably, like about 17. I tried my first Oxycontin 80, and I got the hug from God, bro. You know what I mean? Crack open that warm jar of honey and pour it over my head, bro. That's just what it was. And I knew then and there, like, this is going to be a problem, but I'm okay with this problem. Like,
see, when I started, I had done the same pills, Perks, Vicodin. I loved them. It was great. I always, I had arrived moment was a Percocet 5 in a Home Depot parking lot when I was like, I don't know, 21. I don't remember I remember it was 97. I don't remember how old I was. I had done a Oxy 20 and was like, it's cool. But then that first time I did an 80. In my mind, it didn't make sense that, like, oh, you're taking the equivalent of 10 of these things all at once. And You're snorting it, so it's acting different. But I know I decided, I stayed up late. I cleaned my basement where my art studio was. I broke up with the girlfriend I was with because I was going to live this amazing life now, and I'm going to do all this stuff. And when I woke up, I was like, man, now this sucks. I need that again.
Yeah.
And it really was this one pill can just fucking suck the soul out of you and take over. And back then, they were like $5-10 a piece.
Yeah, cheap.
In like 2003, 2004. When by the time I got to Florida to get sober and then got back into drugs, they were $60 each.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how people survive paying that stuff, and I guess that's why fentanyl entered the picture.
Yeah.
How bad was it before you had to leave?
All right, well, if my mom finally made the big leap, she was always like my biggest enabler. I hate to call her that, but it is what it is. She would never kick me out of the house and all that, and she finally had enough. I had totaled 2 work trucks, got caught 2 DUI charges in the matter of 2 weeks, wrecked 2 of my neighbors' cars, cut my friend Whitney's Toyota Corolla in half. So it was to the point where she just had enough. You know what I mean? The sleepless nights, worrying about me all the time. So she finally kicked me out. And I remember I had a Mercedes C260 or C280. I'm sorry. And I was sleeping in the passenger seat with like a bundle of dope in my lap. And my dad, who wasn't really in my life, probably because of my drug addiction or whatever it was, I really don't care. He comes knocking on my window, like, and I'm like, yo, like,
just out of nowhere.
Yeah, out of nowhere, bro. I guess they got into contact with each other, and he decided to finally take the reins and take control of the situation and actually help his son. And he was like, "You're going to fucking detox." And I'm like, "All right, cool, dude." And I had like I said, I had like a bundle, maybe 2 bundles of heroin in my lap, and I had an Eagles blanket. And like 2 of the bags had slipped out of the rubber band, so like he thought he got all my drugs, and I was like, "Yeah, bro, that's it. That's all I got." And needless to say, like I had to sneak away to the bathroom, did a bunch of dope, and I went to Eagleville Hospital, which is like a state-run detox facility up in Pennsylvania.
It's like the New Horizons of Pennsylvania. Yeah,
more or less, but they give you methadone and Klonopin there. It was a pretty good stay.
Sounds awesome.
And I remember 4 days into that, because detox protocols, 5 to 7 days, and then you go to residential there. There's like payphones. I called him, and he was like, "Hey, so listen, when you get out of there, you're going to Florida." I was like, okay, like that's great.
Have you ever been to Florida before?
I mean, for like a vacation, my family lives in Port St. Lucie, like my grandma and my aunt, like just to visit.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it. Like I knew nothing about South Florida recovery or nothing about that at all. And he was like, so when you get out, you're going to Florida. I'm like, all right, cool, that's whatever, dude. So I immediately AMA. Immediately. Like, you know what I mean? Like, bro, the plan's in motion. I'm already leaving, so like I need to get fucked up. So I AMA'd with some like random ass dude from Horsham. And we fucking finesse our way under the train, get down to Philly, finesse our way through free bus fare. You know what I mean? We don't got no money, and the bus driver's pissed. Like, all right, get on. So we get into Kensington, and
Oh God.
so the first time I ever shot up was this day.
Oh, so
you
you
know-
had not touched it the whole time?
No
with
needles.
The
Yeah.
80s and everything.
Yeah,
Oh,
no
wow.
needles. Just always snorting them. That's pretty much, that was it. And then so this kid's like, oh yeah, you got a bang dope. It's great. I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, I'm in. Let's go. So this dude hits me for my first time ever, and I remember when that plunger went in, bro. Like that was a wrap. I was like, bro, why have I not been doing this my whole life? Like, what a fucking waste of money, bro. I could have been rocked. And, it went from there. I ended up meeting my mom in an Outback Steakhouse and told them that, I got medically discharged on, a whole bullshit.
You graduated.
Yeah,
You're good to
graduated.
go.
Yeah, I'm good to go. I'm going to Florida, Mom. I'll be all right. Can I stay at your house tonight? And, which she did. She let me stay there. And then got on a plane, bro, and came to Florida. And treatment up north is way different than it is down here. Way fucking
See,
different.
I've never actually been to detox or rehab. I went to an IOP once, but
Okay.
I've always passed that part and just got taken to jail.
Right,
Because
right.
by the time I'm that fucked up, no one's like, oh, he needs help. They're like, let's lock this fucker up.
Yeah,
Let's
he's
get him away. But I've heard the same thing. I can't imagine having to go to a state-run place in Jersey or Philly. That's got to be rough.
I honestly liked them more, bro. That was my people. Like, it wasn't, PPO policy, mommy and daddy thug in the basement, bro. Like, bro, you grew up in a $250,000 house. What? And you're a fucking blood, you're white, try it again. Like, we're not going with that. We're just not. So state run, it was like, you had to, like, get on a waiting list and be county funded to get into places like that. So, like, you kind of wanted to be there. I never did. I kind of just, manipulated it because, my mom was on my ass or my dad was on my ass. So I was like, fuck it, I'll go to rehab. But I honestly, I like those places better because those people were more for real about it.
Yes.
Like they,
Get that.
yeah, bro. I remember going to the, it's called Triangle Club now, or Triangle something, or Pyramid. And but when I had first gone, it was called Today Incorporated, and I was 17, 18, and there was this dude. He's my age now, 33. Sat across from a picnic table with me and was like, "Kid, get your life together now, because you're going to do X, Y, and Z." And I'm like, "Bro, you're full of shit. I'm all right. I just snort Oxy 80s. I'll be all right. You smoke crack and shoot dope.
We're not the same.
Yeah, we're not the same." And I'll be damned, bro. That dude fucking, you'd swear he had a crystal ball because everything he told me was going to happen fucking happened.
The guy I was telling you earlier from Philly that I knew, this guy, he was doing pills too. We actually did a show together, and he gave me his boy's number, and I went to meet him in Philly, and he knew who I was, and we get the stuff, and I'm in this point where like I could almost be like a celebrity in the art world, like
Right.
around this type of art I am, but like I have the like possibility of finally cracking that like mainstream artist thing where your life is set. And I went back to the hotel and we're talking about it, and he's like, "Oh, you got them?" I had some Oxy 10s. He had Perk 5s, and he takes those. He's like, "Don't do that. Like, you'll cross the line if you do that." I'm like, "Dude, it's only twice as strong as like what you got. Like, I don't understand. It's not a big deal." He's like, "I'm telling you, you will ruin your life. Everybody does." I'm like, "Nah, I got this." And pretty much from that time period, he was exactly right. Once I got into them and started doctor shopping and got unlimited ones, and everything else just disappeared. Everything, those dreams, those plans, those possibilities, just fucking wrecked.
Yeah.
There's a whole Oxycontin generation.
Yeah, bro.
that just completely threw their fucking lives away.
Absolutely.
What happened? Where'd you go in Florida?
So Amethyst, my dad had a buddy. His son had gone through Amethyst at that point, and he was now working there. I think Amethyst was open for like 8 months or something at this point. Like I said, treatment was way different up north. Like you kind of went into a facility, like they like locked you down, like that was it. Like you didn't go out anywhere. You did groups in group room. You had
It's like solitary confinement.
Yeah,
or
more
detox.
more or less. Yeah, and so I come down here and like some random dude is at the airport and he's like, "Are you Wayne?" And I'm like, "Why?" And this dude like literally takes his phone like with a picture of me on he has my Facebook open, and he's like, "This is you, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's all right, yeah, that's me." And he's like, "Wow, I'm Ben. I work for Amethyst." I was like, all right, cool, dude." So he picked me up at Fort Lauderdale Airport and drives me to Port St. Lucie. And mind you, I had been to Port St. Lucie before because my grandma lived down here, and I was like, I got family here. Like, what are the fucking odds of this? And so, funny story, we pull up to a house, and I'm like, I'm expecting, like, you know, a building, you know what I mean? And I'm like, bro, listen, if you think you're going to kidnap me, you got the wrong fucking one, because I will snatch the life out of you right now. And he's like, bro, just shut up. Go inside. I'm like, I'm not going in that fucking house, dude. So they open the garage, and it's like a tech office. And I was like, well, that kind of, you kind of got me sold. Now I guess this is safe. And that was my introduction to PHP housing and stuff like that, and a whole new ball game of treatment that I never knew existed. You know, like they cook for me. I got like a Winn-Dixie card to buy food.
Oh my god!
Like, bro, it was crazy. I'm like, this is all right. I'm gonna be all right. Like, you know, as long as you get the drugs and alcohol out of me, I'm gonna be all right, bro. I live in a sunshine state now. You know, like they're feeding me. This will be good. And
you know, a lot of people get that same opportunity though and don't follow through.
Yeah,
which you know blows my mind, especially these people that do it over and over and over again. But like, obviously, something was different for you this time. What was it when you got there that like made you think I need to keep doing this? Like,
that time?
Yeah.
No, I was one of those assholes that kept going.
Oh, even better. So what happened?
I wish I got it back then, bro. I just didn't though.
Good. I thought it was gonna be boring. What happened?
No, I was still ill-informed on the fact of. This is a disease of the mind, and drugs and alcohol are my solution at this particular point in time in my life, and that my behavior's fucked up. I had no conception of that whatsoever. Like, I had been to treatment, I don't know, probably 10 times prior to this, you know, but this was just a different swing of things, and I thought, you know, the geographical change would change me. Nah, bro. Not at all. I probably got worse, honestly. You know, so I eventually graduate this PHP program and go into halfway. And never had been in a halfway house before. It was always, you know, 28 days, 30 days, back to mom's house, in the basement, hanging out, back to the same bullshit. Yeah. I will say that the structure of that house, you know, like I had to take piss tests 3 times a week. I had to report to the center for IOP and stuff like that. That kind of kept me sober because I just didn't want to live on the street in Florida. I don't know nothing about it down here. And, but like the behavior was there, bro. So like my house manager... Rest his fucking soul, bro. I mean, he's not dead, but like he might as well have killed himself. So the behavior really started coming out. You know, like you removed the drugs and alcohol from me, and I thought I was going to be cured, but like I said, I got worse, bro. Mm. So like I had to find some sort of chaos to fill that void in my life. So like that just turned into like. My house manager would fall asleep on the couch, and I would just douse him in Axe and light him on fire. And you know, like that was just a typical Tuesday for me, and like that was what I identified as was fun. It got so bad to the point that this dude used to lock himself in his room just so he could take naps. And I finally, you know, I've realized that fireworks were legal down here. They're not legal in Pennsylvania.
No, not in Jersey.
So he locks himself in his room one day, and I get the bright idea. I'm like, I'm gonna punch a fucking hole through this door. And drop a mortar in it and see what happens. Well, if you drop a mortar in a door, like a cheap halfway house door, it blows it to shit. And the smoke alarm goes off, and, you know, people aren't too happy about that. And I was quickly kicked out. Prior to being kicked out, I also took the realtor sign that I found in the house, in the garage, and I put that in the front lawn, and they were calling the
people started calling.
Yeah, needless to say, yeah, they shipped me pretty quickly after that.
Awesome. So did you spend time getting high in Florida?
Yeah, a little bit of time getting high down. Well, a lot of bit of time, yeah.
It always blows my mind the difference in drugs down here. Like, okay, back in Jersey and Philly, you can get like a bundle.
Yeah, the wax bags.
And then down here, everything's like a cap.
Yeah, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, like, is there a factory in New York, New Jersey, and Philly just pounding out these little wax packs with the plastic?
I don't know.
It's so professional.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it's a little Puerto Rican in the kitchen. I know that. They just.
Do you ever get the bags with the like logos on them?
Yeah, the stamps.
That was huge.
That's how you identify them.
Yeah, and then you come down here, and these people got. It's like, fuck's a cap?
Yeah, a little
what
capsule.
Is
yeah. It's fucking crazy, bro.
There must be some border where that just changes.
Yeah, I don't know where it's at.
Can't get a deck, can't get a bundle, let's go to caps.
Yeah.
So fucking strange. So, where were you at when you're on the streets in Florida?
So, Fort Pierce and down here in Stewart.
Really?
Yeah, the first time I got high, like off opiates, so like I had eaten Xanax, I got kicked out, and probably like a week later, I got my hands on some bars. One of these retarded kids in treatment had a prescription for him, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go fill it." I'm like, "Yeah, please do." And we had gone down to West Palm to go cop or whatever, and this dude fucking dies in the front seat of his car. Like, so I had to like drag him out, give him CPR, save that kid's life. And but I robbed him for his Xanax. You know,
that's a fair trade.
Yeah, fuck you.
You bring someone back to life, you get their stuff.
Yeah, it was like 90 bars. I was really happy. It was the yellow ones too, my favorite. And so I started eating them like viciously. And I didn't use dope at this point. Like I seen him overdose, saved his life or whatever. I don't know. I was in a Xanax hole. And then I came back up, and I had met this girl in treatment. And
sounds familiar.
Yeah.
That's happened a couple times to people.
She was probably bitching at me or something, or I don't know. Some fight probably ensued, and I was friends with this other dude, and he was like, "Hey, I can get dope in Fort Pierce." I'm like, "All right, cool. Kid from Boston, fucking hilarious." And so I get a cap, and I'm like, "This is my first experience with one of these caps," and I'm like, I opened it, and I'm like, "Bro, I don't know how to put this back together," so I just dumped the whole cap onto this toilet seat in Fort Pierce, and I do a fat gagger. And, like, I feel great. I'm like, this is...
Problem solved.
Here we are.
Now I can figure everything out.
I remember sitting, and she had a Mitsubishi, or a Subaru Outback. Is it Subaru that's the Outback? So I remember sitting in the passenger seat of this Outback and looking out the window. And, like, I'm like, I feel kind of funny. And then I just go out. And I wake up, like, apparently, like, 14 hours later in Lawnwood Hospital in Fort Pierce, and I'm ripping IVs out of my arm, cussing at people. Fuck you, cocksuckers. There's, like, all these, like, people from Amethyst are there, like, oh, you were dying. I'm like, bro, shut up, dude.
This is from one cap.
This is from one cap, yeah. God. And, I ripped all the IVs out, and I'm like, I gotta go. And they're like, we're gonna Baker Act. I'm like, fuck you, I don't want to kill myself. You're not Baker Acting me. I gotta go. So I get out, and, yeah, needless to say, nothing changed even then. You know, like I wanted more. Like I just felt like that was a fluke or a ripple in time that, you know, I just happened to overdose. I think I'll be all right though. And it continued, bro. It continued from 2016 until 2020, bro.
You were down here that long?
Yeah, bro.
Oh my god.
Yep.
That's nuts. I was probably driving past you going to get my drugs in West Palm, coming back to Port St.
Probably, yeah, probably.
I also spent time at Longwood Hospital.
Yeah.
I crashed my car and flipped over the last time I got high. I've been in JFK Hospital, and the same thing happened to me. I overdosed in my work van, and I was with this girl. Her boyfriend was my friend. He's in prison, so she's running the business. And we're coming back from getting just bags of shit. I overdosed while driving. She's able to pull the van over and actually calls an ambulance, but she took all my Xanax. She left all my caps, so that was okay. But she saved my life. And then when I went back to the van, all the Xanax was gone. It was, same deal. It was, I guess, a fair trade. I was still alive, but she got my fucking bars.
Yeah, fuck that.
But yeah, it was a weird time period, too, because everything started to change. People weren't overdosing in 2016 the way they were in 2020.
Right.
The shit was just different. And I would even get stuff from the same person. Everything changed.
Yeah.
Like, I never could do such a tiny, tiny little bit and then get up off the floor and, like, how'd that happen?
Yeah.
Like, it was nuts. And I got 5 Narcans to bring me back.
But yeah.
What was 2020 like? That something obviously changed.
So, I would say probably 2018, getting high was no longer fun. I mean, it was pretty much no longer fun even back in Philly, but, like, I still had good times. So, like, I was still holding on to that, like a toxic relationship. You know what I mean? Like, I'll remember the good times, fuck all the bad shit. I'm going to hold on to this one good thing. And, but, like, about 2018, bro, it just wasn't fun anymore. Like, I was running from myself on a daily basis. I hated myself. I hated the world around me. I hated everything. You know what I mean? Like, I would wake up in the morning and be, like, depressed that I actually woke up, bro. Like, really, bro? Here we fucking go again. Like, I gotta go rob, Quan from the corner or, steal someone's dog and wait for the reward sign. Like, bro, it was miserable. And I ended up in a faith-based program in Fort Pierce.
Which one?
Planaseed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was offered that in jail.
I mean, I'll never say a bad thing about it because it got me off the street. And the guy who runs it, Al he saved my life, bro. He really did, in a sense of, like, not everybody's a bad person. You know what I mean? Like, I was so used to bad people my whole life, people wanting something from me or a service from me. You know what I mean? Like, what could I do for them to help them? And like that's just the way like I looked at it. You know, everybody wanted, you know, they had an ulterior motive. Like there was no genuine help out there. And Al showed me that that's not the case. You know, he got me a job, you know, at a trust plant, which I still work at to this day. Needless to say, I wasn't aware of the behavior part of this disease. I still thought drugs were my problem, you know, and I couldn't grasp the fact about like, why do I put drugs down for 6 months on end in a structured-based environment?
I'm still angry and miserable.
And I'm still angry and miserable. And eventually there's that suddenly moment always happens, you know, when what they talk about in the book. Suddenly I crossed the threshold in my hotel room and I thought a highball would be good, you know, and suddenly I'd cross the threshold in my, you know, halfway house and a shot of dope sounded really good, you know, and I had no mental defense against that because, like, every fiber of my being didn't want to do it, but my brain was like, bro, we're doing it. Like, I don't know why you're fighting. Like, we're going to do it. And needless to say, I did it. And so we'll fast forward to 2020. I got my license back. My license was suspended since I was like 20. I was driving without a license for like 10 years. Crashed those 2 vehicles on a suspended license, you know. It was just a shit show, bro. And
my mom's gonna love this because this describes everything I've done. We were just talking about. She was listing off all the cars I crashed. Mom, I don't know why you let me drive. Like, why? Oh, I did so much damage, and my license too was gone. Like, it's just. So you got your license back?
Yeah, I got my mom actually told me, she calls me, she's like, hey, your license is, PA just sent me a letter that your license, I'm like, I'm running on DUI charges. Like, I have active warrants in Pennsylvania. If I ever touch foot, they're getting me. Like, there's no way my license is good. And she's like, I'm telling you. So I'm like, mail the fucking letter down. So she mails the letter down, and sure enough, bro, it's like, you know, your driving privileges have been restored. We just I needed to write them a letter saying I don't have a vehicle registered in my name, and I think that was it. So it was like a one-sentence paragraph that I emailed them. Boom, my license was clear, good to go, and I went to the DMV, and easiest experience of my life. Florida DMV, shout out to them because it was so easy. Philly, they look at you like, what the fuck are you doing here, bro? Like, why are you wasting my time? I don't want to do my job right now. Got my license back and immediately got a car. You know, I had stacked some money up because I wasn't spending it on Dilaudid and you know, dumb shit. And so I bought a car. I had a girlfriend. Like, my life was kind of good materialistically, but I still hated myself on the inside. And ultimately, you know, one of those suddenly moments happened again. A guy in my house, you know, I knew he was getting banged up for like months. And I'm like, I finally was like, bro, I know what you're doing. Like, so like, let me partake in this fuckery that you got going on. And you know, of course he obliged because, you know, he was sick, and I was like, I'll buy you one. I got you, bro. I'll bring you back to life here. And I took off. You know, it was probably about 2 months of getting high in Planiseed. You know, I had actually manipulated my way to not going to church every day. Like, the pastor loved me. He was like, oh, you're all right, Bickle. You're a good dude. You can, you know, just go to work hard and just, you know, come here on Friday to pay your rent. And I'm like, all right, that's cool, bro. I can do that. So I'm sneakily getting high in his house, bro, shooting Dilaudid, shooting dope. And one day I'm at work, and mind you, I had no health insurance from the time I got down to Florida. So every treatment stay I had been into since I've been into Florida was either a scholarship or just, you know, blind luck of getting in. And this job that I have, you know, supplies me with health insurance, and I'm sitting in my car on break. I worked night shift, and first break was 7 p.m. The sun was going down. I'll never forget. Pursuit Boats is next to us, and I was looking over the horizon at the sun, and like, I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm gonna lose everything again. Like, I don't know why I keep doing this. Like, God, please help me. Please fucking help me. For the first time in my life, I'm asking for help. And I actually reached into my wallet to grab a Dilaudid, and I dropped my wallet, and in my wallet is my insurance card, which was like buried in between, you know, fucking Walmart gift cards that I had fucking finessed my mom for, and Publix gift cards from Christmas that I never used. And somehow my insurance card lands face down, you know, so that the phone number on the back to call for behavioral health is on there, face up, or, you know, I could read it. I'm like, fuck it, let me give this a try, bro. And I call, and I call Amethyst, and actually I shot one of the owners of Amethyst a message on Facebook. Hey, do you take this insurance? Like, I need help. And he got back to me quickly, you know, and then within 10 minutes they had called me, and they were like, yo, yeah, like, when can you come in? I was like, okay, listen, this is going to sound really fucking weird, but like, I work until 2 a.m, but I'll be there at like 2:30, 2:40. I'm sure they've heard this before and nobody's ever showed up. So But I did, bro. I finished my shift. I told my boss, I said, look, bro, I've been shooting dope for the past 2 months. Like, I'm going to die or I'm going to lose everything or both, probably both. So, like, I need to get help. And he was like, I respect that. Do what you got to do. I was like, I'll get at you when I get out. And that started my journey into, my last stay at Amethyst, bro.
Thinking about the lies I had to tell my wife, living in that misery, never wanting to be alive, but also I can't kill myself because they rely on me too much. Like, right. I'm a 49-pound junkie who can barely pay the bills. I'm not a good father figure, but I think I am. So, like, I'm a mess, and I'm just lying to her all the time. I'm not doing that. I'm doing this. No, I'm not eating because I'm not hungry. Just all the fucking lies. And she came to visit me in jail the last time I seen her. I was 2 weeks in. It's visiting day on Saturday, and she comes, and she's like, I read your charges. I know what you were doing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I've been getting high. And it was like the first time I admitted it, and it felt so good to just, like, get it out.
Yeah.
And we hated each other so much. We had, like, no good times. We were just together to pay the bills and take care of the kid. And we, like, started actually having a good conversation, like, and laughing, and, like, she said, well, you always wanted to get your teeth done. You can get that done in prison. And I was like, it's actually a good plan. I'm going to do that. She's like, you should get lots of tattoos. Like, oh, I plan on it. I'm going to look fucking jacked when I get out of here. But, like, just letting those fucking lies go, I mean, it was such a relief. So I remember when I was at Blake's house, I was there and I was sober. I don't remember exactly how long it was, maybe 6 months, could have been a year, I don't know. But I did not have any drugs, not have any alcohol. I had a girlfriend. I was working a horrible job. Didn't matter, but my bills are paid. Like, I had everything I needed to survive, and I was miserable.
Right.
And I same exact thing. I couldn't understand. Like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to. I'm not getting high. Like, why do I feel this way? And there was actually a point where I was just in full-blown anger psychosis. And I had planned out to do something horrible. Because I was like, I don't want to live anymore, and it's all your problem. Everyone in the halfway house, I'm miserable because of you, so I'm going to take you all out and take myself out. And it was a detailed plan, and it was just fucking insanity. And I went to a meeting that night, and my friend Big Book Brian, we're going through the book every Wednesday at Blake's, and he read the Praying for the People That You Don't Like, the Step 4 prayer.
Right.
And just something about it that night, like, gave me chills, and I was like, wow, I'm the asshole. But it was like the first time it made sense. And after that, like, I started going through the book and it made sense. All the other times I tried to do this, why it didn't work. Like, the things it's saying in this book, it finally made sense.
Yeah.
And I was able to, eventually get out of that misery. It still pops up sometimes because I'm still angry.
Absolutely.
At people, but
I had got kicked out of Amethyst. So, like, I'm kind of repeating behaviors here, but I was, bro, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of the model client this time. Like, I was going to group, I was sharing in group, and you always connect with one person in detox. Like, this dude is my boy. Like, I probably would kill somebody for him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you're like that, but, like, I gravitate to somebody, and, like, that's my guy. Like,
yes.
I've known you since the womb, bro, but I've known you 20 minutes, but you're my guy. They were trying to send him to Pompano to, like, a co-ed halfway house, and I'm like, bro, they're trying to fucking kill you. Like, do you not see that? Like, he's from New York. He knows nothing about the South Florida game yet. And, like, I have been down here now for a little while. So, like, I've seen this play out. Like, I don't have a crystal ball, but I've been around a while. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to fuck you, bro. And they caught wind of that, of me telling him, don't do that. So they didn't like that very much because, they got their little insurance scam going on, whatever they got going on, some dog shit that they got going on behind the scenes. And they asked
allegedly, we should probably say
allegedly. And they more or less asked me to leave, and I was fucking angry, bro. Like, angry. Like, really fucking angry. And, at this point, I was like, I'm probably going to be on the street. Due to my own, fucking stupid mouth talking shit and trying to do the right thing here. And they send me over to a PHP program, Miracles. And the first thing I say to the owner, he's a Spanish guy, and his last name was Gonzalez. And I was like, what the fuck are you going to do for me, you little fucking Mexican? And he kind of just looked at me and was like, have some coffee, bro. Sit down. He's like, hey, I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you. I'll love you till you love yourself, bud. And, like, that's the first time in my life that we're from up north. Like, if I say that, we're fighting.
Yeah,
like,
that does not happen.
And to see, like, the peace in this dude's eyes, and, like, he really meant that. Like, I just kind of, like, insulted your race and, like, called you a pussy, more or less. And, like, You tell me you love me? Like, all right, dude, whatever. So, like, what do I have to lose? I'm not being homeless, so I'll stay. And this is where, like, I really started to learn about the behavior part. You know, I started to look back on my life and all the experiences I've been through prior to relapsing, whatever you want to call it. I guess it wasn't a relapse because, like, relapse is returning to a previous state. I never left the state I was in, so I can't return to it. So, you know, I was just getting high again. We'll just call it that. And I was in this halfway house for, I think, 2 weeks at this point. And there was one particular guy there. And thank God for this kid, bro. For real. Like, thank God for him. He was going to meetings. His life was good. He had a sponsor. He was working the steps. And his life was getting exponentially better. And I was pissed about that. Because here I am sitting in this halfway house, just as miserable as I was on the drugs now that I'm off them. This dude fucking comes in glowing like a fucking light bulb.
Getting his fucking shit together.
Bro, like, and it just pissed me off. It chapped my ass, bro. And I'm like, fuck this guy. And, you know, we were up late one night, you know, halfway house fucking around. And these fake lemons, we had these fake lemons. Do not put fake lemons in a halfway house. It's not a good idea. In this case, I owe my sobriety to a little fake lemon. Because this kid, if anybody else in this house had thrown this lemon at me, it would have been, it wouldn't have cared. But this fucking jerk off does, and it pissed me off. And I was like, you know, the Philadelphia came out. I'm like, bro, I'll fucking knock you the fuck out if you throw that lemon at me again. He said, don't talk about it, be about it, bitch. Okay, well, you got the right one, bro. Don't write checks that your ass can't cash. So we went into the garage, scrapped it up. I mean, it wasn't really a scrap. I kind of just brutally beat this kid, kicked him in his head like David Akers, and went to the center the next day, and they were like, you got to go. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to go to Fort Pierce and get high. Like, my manipulative side kicked in. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to fucking go get high.
Guilt tripped them into letting stay.
But they took a chance on me, and I'm grateful for that chance, because now the owner said to me, I need you to go home after group and dissect why you didn't like him throwing that lemon at you. Because you just told me, I told him pretty much the same story you told me, or that I just told you, that, you know, if it was anybody else, I wouldn't have did nothing. But because it was him, I did something. He's like, you need to dissect that and look at that. I'm like, here we go with this psychology bullshit. And you know what? But for the first time in my life, like, this dude's got substantial sobriety, so, like, maybe let me just look into this a little bit. So, like, it can't hurt. And I quickly realized that, like, that was envy and jealousy of what he was doing. You know, his life was getting better. I wanted that. I was miserable, so you should be miserable. That's how I lived. And I took a chance, bro. You know, I said, hey, man, like, what are you doing to, like, be the way you are? Like, because, like, I know you use drugs like I used them. I know you act like I acted. And, like, I'm fucking dying, bro. I need help. And he was like, well, I go to this meeting, and, you know, it's by the park, and, like, it's outdoors. You can still smoke. Like, because COVID, at this point, COVID had shut down, like, pretty much every meeting. So I end up going to this meeting, and funny thing is, you know, we talked about Jersey and Pennsylvania hating each other. The first 3 people that welcomed me there were all from New Jersey. And I was like, well, I guess Jersey people are, right? And then the guy who ended up sponsoring me is a product of New Jersey. His parents were Jersey born, and so he was Jersey raised and just happened to move to Florida. And
who's that, John?
John, yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Tom's
know he was
River,
connected
New Jersey.
to...
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Tom's fucking River, New Jersey, dude.
All right, this is the AA matrix where everything's connected.
Yeah, bro, crazy.
Tom's River, New Jersey, 08757. That was my zip code, because that's where I fucking live. That means me and him came from the same place. Holy shit.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man.
Oh, you know, getting almost kicked out of Blake's really changed me, too, because I went to Blake's because I didn't want to be homeless. Mm-hmm. Like, I just got kicked out of Artesian. You know, I'm thinking Blake's is going to be like Artesian, whatever. Just, it was not. It was a lockdown prison camp. But
yeah, I heard.
It's exactly what I needed. But at first, I got there, my whole plan was to just save up so I can move out. I really had no desire to keep doing this stuff. I'm not doing drugs and alcohol, that's enough. And when he almost kicked me out, you know, the way he said what he said that day was like, why are you doing this to yourself? Like, you're better than what you're doing. It's some shit like that. And he just had this look in his eyes when I was like, this motherfucker actually kind of cares.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
He's a dickhead all the time behind the scenes, but he actually gives a fuck. Mm-hmm. And I was like, if this guy can give a fuck, maybe I should too.
Yeah.
And, you know, that changed. If that didn't happen, who the fuck knows where I'd be. There's a lot of people that same exact time period that are not around anymore.
Yeah, bro.
Like, not even in the program, they're dead. There's a whole bunch that aren't in the program too. But I hooked up with people that I had like 3 friends that from that same time period we're still friends together. We still are in the program together. The reason why we all have our shit together is because we all were the guys who got a sponsor and worked the steps while living at the halfway house.
Yep.
And if you're not doing that while living in a halfway house, you're wasting your time.
Mm-hmm.
When I look back at my old behaviors too, everything was connected to a woman.
Pretty much.
Like every moment in my life, like everything started with, I meet this girl, everything's going great. The rest of my life is going to be with her.
Mm-hmm.
And I always have good intentions. I really love this girl, and we're going to be together forever, and we're going to get a house, and blah, 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 every time. And then it starts falling apart. And now this girl becomes my enemy. Every time.
Yep.
And then I'm living in misery with this person because I made all these promises I don't want to break, but I also got to get high.
Yeah.
And that makes me a horrible person, and then we fight. And I look back, and so much of my life was centered around women, and when I got sober, guess what I did? I met a girl at the halfway house, and she happened to be 10 times crazier than anyone I'd ever met before. And, those same behaviors came out. And, she's still in my life today. She's probably my best friend on the planet. But it put me through shit when we were together, and then she relapsed, and she was miserable. I seen it sucking her in for a long time. And when she did it, it killed me. And I mean, it never made me think about getting high. It made me think about dismembering the body and hiding parts. But like, to go through that, because I had wrapped my sobriety around her being sober so much, and like to learn to step back, and people you love in this program, they're still just one drink away from burning their lives down. And we get close, but you also can't get that close.
Yeah.
Because somebody else getting fucked up can't lead to your downfall.
Absolutely. I mean, I was kind of the same way. You know what I mean? Like, I would always find that one. I guess call it codependency. Call it whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
I just didn't want to be alone, bro. You know what I mean?
Codependent.
Like, I would get high alone, but, like, I needed the woman companion. Like, 90% of the times because they had a house and I didn't. Yes. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to move in. I love you.
Say 95%.
Yeah, And ultimately, it would turn into a complete shit show, especially when we started getting high together. Because once we started getting high together, I'm a different breed when I start getting high. Like, bro, we're going to the bitter ends here. Like, we're going to the wheels fall off. You need to call Pookie, and I'm going to tape him up and put him in the trunk, just because he didn't want to front me a $20 cap. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're either going to give it to me or you're not. And like, if you're not going to give it to me, I'm going to take it from you. Yeah. And kind of like when that side comes out of me, they kind of are like, you're a fucking maniac. And I'm like, yeah, like, you knew what you signed up for. Like, I love you because you have a house. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, come on now. Like, this isn't happily ever after. I mean, I'll paint it to be happily ever after, but that's not what it is.
I mean, that's one of the biggest things in my story is that in 2013, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Mm-hmm. Like, I just got out of jail, went back to jail, got out of jail again. I'm on felony probation. Oh my God, this sucks. I'm on drug court. I need to get married. That'll make everything better. And I found a girl on a dating app that had a kid and had her things together. She was from Jersey, so I was like, oh, it gives us something to talk about.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm in. And it was a prepackaged family. Like, all I got to do is be a husband and pay the mortgage, and I'm going to have my shit together and be happy. And she didn't get high. She did things occasionally, but...
A normie.
Yes. A normie that occasionally did some fun stuff. I remember one time, she asked me if I could get Coke, because it was like New Year's Eve. So I was like, of course. So I go and get it back. Like, here you go. This is for us. She took out like a little tiny line. It's like, let's do one together. We do it. And then she puts it away. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Who does that?
Yeah, what are you doing?
She's like, I'm going to save it for tomorrow. Like, what do you mean you're saving it? No, let's do that shit. For people to be able to do that. Like,
I don't understand it.
No.
I don't.
That is the different animal. Someone that can do something as good as real drugs and put it away for tomorrow.
Well, save it for next week. Like, you're out of your fucking mind.
I'm not getting a shot when I wake up because I'm doing it.
That little halfway house fight actually kind of gave me that push that I needed to recognize that behaviors were my issue. And I met my sponsor, and that awkward question, will you read a book with me, dude? You know what I mean? Like, this book's going to save my life. Like, I still thought that was bullshit. But, like, he had been through some shit in his life, and a mutual friend of ours, Gio, had also been through some shit in his life, and if it worked for them, it might just work for me type deal. And, like, I've exhausted all options at this point. Like, I've tried just smoking weed. I tried just taking Suboxone on Monday. Like, I've tried just shooting dope on Friday. And, like, ultimately, I always end up back at square one, and I didn't want to do that anymore. So, it was time for me to take some suggestion and like, take somebody else, let somebody else take the wheel for once, and so I that's what I did, bro. I got involved in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, like, immediately, and it's crazy that it was written in 1939, and that's me.
Yes,
that's me in that book, bro. And not even like how, like, Bill was a stockbroker wheeling and dealing. Like, yeah, I was a wheeling and dealing motherfucker, but I wasn't a stockbroker, and I was not clearly as smart as this guy.
Yeah, I always say, he was a veteran of the war. I went to high school in New Jersey.
Yeah,
so there's our commonality.
Yeah, I hung out in Kensington, and I've seen some shit, but he talked about, like, the deepest parts of his soul and the way he felt mentally and emotionally, and I that resonated with me, like, yes, page 52, the bedevilments. That
just can't be happy.
Mm-hmm, that was
cannot
me.
Find joy in anything.
That was me, bro. And I'll admit, when I first came in, because I've had experience with AA. Like, I've been to a couple AA meetings up north, but, like, I was never, invested. As soon as they would talk about God, I was out.
I'm out.
Like, I don't want to deal with this bullshit. What are you talking about? But here's the funny thing. I was also that same kid, like, looking up the secrets of the universe and, like, energies and stuff like that. And that brilliant line in the book where Ebby Thatcher tells Bill that he can generate his own conception of God. I was like, well, Bill was just like me. Like, he thought religion was bullshit and, had problems with it or whatever. And I'm the same way. So, like, I can be, the universe can be my higher power. So what do I got to lose? So I started praying to, I would call it fuck boy, dude, jerk off, all sorts of, vulgarities every day of my life. I would just cuss at my higher power, but I kept staying sober, and I kept getting, like, this, like, indescribable willingness to keep doing the steps and keep going through with this work, and got to step 4, which, I've always heard,
where most people tap out.
Yeah, because, bro, honestly, it's because the community paints a picture that it's like fucking fire and brimstone. It's so scary, bro. But you know how many 5th steps I did before I even knew it was a 5th step? Just in the fucking trap house with Flacco, like, bro, I did this, that, and the third, and I'm bragging about it like a badge of honor in the streets. But now that I get sober and I don't have that courage in me anymore, now I'm afraid to say it. Like, it's kind of crazy, bro. Like, this dude don't fucking care about me. This sponsor sitting across from me cares about me and my well-being, but Flacco didn't. But here I'm scared to tell the person who actually, like, I mean something to, and they want me to do better in life, and, like, this is the one thing that's going to set me free and clear that blockage from me so I can actually have a decent relationship with my higher power. Like, I'm letting my pride and ego get in the way. It was fucking crazy. It baffled me. Like, when I realized how simple the step work really was and actually got through it, like, when I finally got through my steps, and, like, he was like, okay, so today after the meeting, like, when they asked for sponsorship, you're going to raise your hand. And I'm like, what, for, like, a new sponsor? And he was like, no, so you can sponsor people. And I was like, oh no.
I don't want to do that.
Like, bro, like, I'm a mess. He's like, bro, the only way you can keep this is to freely give it away. He said, remember that paragraph we read in Working with Others? And I was like, the first paragraph? And he's like, exactly. At least you were fucking paying attention. I said, yeah, so, which is, nothing ensures us immunity is rigorous with another addict or alcoholic. I added the addict part, but, same thing. It works when all else fails. Mm-hmm. And then it goes on to talk about, this is an experience you must not miss. And I really didn't understand that part until probably this past year, when I finally seen a sponsee pick up a year. His life got better, you know what I mean? And he's helping others. Like, he's a productive member. He's got a great job. Like, his life is completely turned around. He came in the rooms
a mess.
A year prior, a mess, bro. His wife just died. Like, he was dealt a shitty fucking hand. But here he is, through adversity, rising, and becoming a productive human in society. And it's like, damn, bro, that's what they're talking about. Yes. I fuck with that.
And now he's sponsoring people. Yep. And now he participates.
Taking H&Is in, like, doing the fucking deal.
Our good friend Tom always quotes that line, it's an experience you must not miss. Like, for two people that were like us to go from Philly to New Jersey in some bad areas, some bad shit. We've done some bad things. Yep. We've survived so many car crashes. Like,
Yeah,
between
bro.
the two of us, it would probably be at least 20.
Yeah.
Like, I have more visits to jail than you, but still. Like, for us to not only survive, but be trying to help others now. Like, that's the experience you must not miss.
Absolutely.
And, it's the whole reason I'm doing this is so hopefully someone who can't make it to a meeting, somebody who's just bored going through YouTube, someone that needs help and doesn't think that the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous can help a drug addict. That's why I'm doing this. Because I am a drug addict.
Me too.
And that book, Alcoholics Anonymous, don't be afraid of the word God and the word alcohol, because that is the solution right in there. And that's the experience you must not miss. And I'll put a picture of Tom.
For the people out there that, think that this isn't possible, and, people like me and Leroy have came from some pretty dark places, I'll give you a little, just a little bit of what's happened in my life in the past 4 years that I've been sober. The trust plant that I work for has expanded, substantially throughout the United States, and they've seen me through the worst, man. They've seen me shoot dope in the parking lot. They've seen me try to kidnap a Sawyer from my job because he owed me $50. Like, I stuffed him in my trunk in the parking lot. Like, they've seen me do some shit. And that same company, has always stood by me. And 2 years ago, they opened up a plant in Bainbridge, Georgia. Through this program and through the help of God, they kind of looked at me as an asset, and they gave me a company credit card with like a limitless, like, bro, this is the company they got money, bro. And they gave me a Jeep, and they told me drive 8 hours from Fort Pierce, Florida to Bainbridge, Georgia to train all their new employees in their multi-million-dollar facility. Like, bro, I just was, kidnapping people in the parking lot, shooting dope. Here we are 2 years later. You trust me with the keys to a company vehicle and a limitless credit card, and are expecting me to make it to said location and train said people in this multi-million-dollar fucking facility. Like, that's fucking crazy. Like, never in my wildest dreams would I thought that a company that has seen what I can be, what I am, and what I can become with drugs and alcohol in me, put that much trust into me, and actually look at me as a valuable asset to this company. That's pretty fucking crazy. This company has stood by me, and it's helped me gain a lot of things financially, materialistically. Like, I bought a brand new fucking truck, a brand new 2022 Ford F-150. It had 3 miles on it. I thought that would never be fucking possible. Like, I kind of walked into the dealership, I seen this big ass red truck in like inside the building, and was like, I want that. And they're like, okay, well, let's sign the papers. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Is this for real?
Like, this is for real, dude? And then my life changed forever. December 30th at 12:41 p.m. Of 2023, God saw me fit to bring a child into this world. And man, that's me being around a child ever in my life. Like, bro, you can't trust him around them. Not for like anything fucking weird or sexual, you sick fucks. Just because I'm fucking insane, and like I probably might drop the kid or like pass out and like burn the house down, like something crazy like that. But like, God put a kid in my life, bro, and I really understand the meaning of unconditional love now. You know what I mean? Seeing that little baby boy in my arms, holding him for his first breaths into this world, is amazing. You know what I mean? And I didn't think I was ready to be a dad, bro. I really didn't. The circumstances aren't the best, but I've always adapted and overcame in any situation in my life, and AA and the 12 steps and a higher power in my life has given me the ability to do that. It's given me the ability to put my selfishness and self-centeredness away and start thinking about other things. You know what I mean? Start putting other things more priority over my own. You know what I mean? Like, I got a mouth to feed now, bro. Life is a lot different. Like, I can't just punch people in the fucking mouth anymore.
As a father, you can't.
I can't do it, bro. I just can't. And like, a lot of things in my life have taken a lot of time and headbanging to fucking finally make a change in me. But getting sober and finding a higher power, yeah, for years it was, but once I made that decision, it was pretty instant. You know what I mean? Like, my thought process and like, what's the real goal at the end of this? And then especially, realizing that I have to look out for this child now, and a lot of my old ideas of like, if someone says something to me, like,
can't choke them out.
Yeah, I can't choke them out anymore, bro. And like, that came quickly. Like, as soon as I laid eyes on this baby, like, all that bullshit went away. Like, bro, you can say whatever you want to me, do whatever you want to me. It is what it is, bro. Because like, there's a greater purpose in life for me now, and it's not punching you in the face right here in the spot. You know what I mean? It's kind of, I got to look out for this little dude and show him, that's not okay in life.
Well, luckily I don't know that feeling.
Yeah.
And very happy for you, and I'm glad you took that major step into adulthood,
Yeah,
which I will not do, God willing. I spent my whole life making sure I don't have kids. That's the one thing my mother's proud of me for. Didn't have any kids. But the way I used to be, people still call me angry, still call me grumpy, whatever. People at work, you know what I'm talking about. But once you do surrender, I mean, it took a lot of time, but definitely the things that drove me crazy, the things that would make me snap, the things that would make me fight, it just doesn't worth it anymore.
No.
It doesn't matter. And the person I want to choke out the most is probably the person who needs the most help.
Yeah.
And I have to flip that shit in my head and think, all right, I want to hit this person because they're sick and suffering and they're going through something that they need help with.
Yeah.
And really, that's the whole program. Just, turning it over to God and helping others.
Absolutely.
And if people like us can do it, these little bastards with their parents' insurance sitting in detox for the 20th time should be able to do it too.
Yep.
Not mentioning any names, Daniel, but I'm just saying. There's certain people who need to get their shit together.
So some advice for some newcomers out there, you got to put all your old ideals aside. You know what I mean? Being a tough guy and carrying anger and all that shit, it doesn't work, bro. It really doesn't. You know what I mean? Get in touch with, you're a human being. You're allowed to have emotions. You're allowed to get upset. Like, these are all natural things, but the best thing you can do, get to a meeting immediately. You know what I mean? And meeting makers don't make it. That's a load of shit. You know what I mean? Find a sponsor that wants to fire you through the steps immediately. Get through the work. Turn around and start sponsoring other people. And for Danny out there, bro, stop chasing Susie Rottencrotch, bro. That shit, it just ends in demise every single time.
Every great downfall starts with, well, he met a girl.
Yeah.
And then every time, women have taken so many guys out, especially recently, that had solid sobriety and you're sober, just comes to a girl. And
Absolutely.
That's part of it, the anger, the I'm a tough guy, the ego, and the, I need to bang this bitch. It's all part of it that needs to be put down.
Absolutely. So yeah, sponsor, home group, get a commitment in that home group, go through your steps, and most importantly, take another suffering addict and alcoholic through those steps and watch your life change. It's pretty fucking magical.